Buenos días, bon dia. Benvinguts a una nova roda de premsa i amb convidats molt especials. Nada menos que Rob Zombie, Sherry Zombie, Rob Zombie. It's a pleasure to be here with you. Thanks for coming. Welcome to Sitges. We are very, very happy for that.
Thank you for having us.
Welcome and congratulations for everything you do.
Right on. Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, let's go.
Let's get
Come
it
for
over.
it. Please ask.
Yes, anybody with anything.
Hola, hello. ¿Qué sucede por tu cabeza para crear una serie de personajes como la peli de 31, tan sádicos y tan retorcidos? ¿Cómo, en qué te inspiras? No sé.
So, what goes through your head to create such sadistic and crazy characters in your movies?
In Special 31.
Yeah, of course, in a Special 31.
Oh, good question.
You don't want to know.
Yeah,
I don't.
I don't know what goes through my head. I mean, that's just the way I see life. It's, I come up with these things, and I think that's the way it should be. That's why there's not really good characters in the movie. There's just bad characters and worse characters. And yeah, I don't know. I guess I have severe mental problems, perhaps. Now make sense of that.
Yeah.
És una bona pregunta, doncs no sé, és com veig la vida, és com veig les coses, se'm venen coses al cap i les creo, sempre són personatges dolents, mai són bons i no sé, suposo que estic boig.
Sí, Jesús.
Pensando en 31, sí, gracias. Pensando en 31 especialmente, pero también en toda su obra, me gustaría que me comentara 3 nombres propios y qué relación tienen sobre todo con 31. El Conde Zarov de The Most Dangerous Game, el Marqués de Sade y el pensamiento de Anton LaVey.
Something about the most dangerous game.
So, thinking about 31, but also other of your movies, how did the 3 names he mentioned influence those movies, especially 31, but also the other ones? So you said
Wait, what?
Mark de Sade.
The Conde Zarov of The Most Dangerous Game and the thinking of Anton LaVey.
So how did,
Well, really, the only thing I thought about was Most Dangerous Game, because it's just a simple premise of humans hunting humans. The other stuff I didn't really think about. Yeah, so when it came time to do 31, I just wanted to come up with a really super simple idea, and that was the simplest thing I could think of.
doncs la veritat és l'únic que vaig pensar és que volia fer un joc així perillós i d'humans caçant a altres humans, i quan vaig fer 31 només volia fer una idea simple que és això.
Sí.
And done. Thank you.
Hola.
Yes, okay.
Sí.
And a question for both of you. And Rob, can you tell me about your female characters in this last movie and then the difference between this movie and the others? And Sherry, what do you think about your female characters, the characters you played?
Do you want to go first?
Oh, sure. I mean, with all the movies, I always try to have strong female characters in there. You know, they're always either the villains sometimes or they're the heroes. I try to mix it up so it's not always like some young, strong guy as the hero, because I find that very boring, and that doesn't really interest me in any way. That's why there's, in every movie there's been either Devil's Rejects or Halloween or 31 or even Lords of Salem is very much almost all women. The men are complete victims through the whole thing. I just find it more interesting. And yeah. And Sherry can answer her part.
I just feel very, I'm lucky because Rob writes great characters for me, and we, develop them and work on them before we actually film. We have a modicum of time to work on them, but every character is different, and every project is a challenge.
Sí, sempre, ja siguin personatges dolents o bons, jo sempre vull fer figures de dones empoderades. No, no m'agrada la idea, crec que és avorrida i poc interessant, la idea d'un personatge jove i fort, etc. I això ha estat recurrent en totes les pel·lícules que he fet anteriorment. De fet, quasi sempre són dones i quasi sempre els homes són les víctimes. I Sherry, la veritat és que tinc sort de que tot el que escriu Rob i tots els personatges que em crea són fantàstics per mi, però també el que és veritat és que tenim temps per treballar en ells i és un procés en el qual treballem amb temps i cada projecte és un repte nou també.
¿Está aquí? ¿O por dónde? Vale.
Hola. Rob es conocido por, lejos de la violencia de su cine, él es conocido por ser pacifista, muy pro animales, vegetariano, etcétera, etcétera, vegano. Entonces me interesa mucho la forma en que yo creo que él ve el cine como una vía de escape de toda esa violencia que él intenta echar de su vida, y me interesaba saber si realmente es así. O sea,
un exorcismo.
Sí.
So apart from filmmaking and music, etc., you're also known for being a vegan and pro-animal rights, etc. And I would like to know if making these types of movies, is that a way of doing an escape to all those things in life?
Kind of exorcism.
Yeah.
Not really, no. I mean, I see them as two different things. I've always loved horror movies and things like that ever since I was a little kid, so I wasn't aware of these other issues. And I find these other issues far more disgusting and terrifying and horrible. I mean, movies are fake, so who cares? You can do anything. There's nothing wrong with it. So I don't see any connection. I mean, maybe if someone analyzed me, they would find a connection, but I don't see one. Do you see a connection in this?
No.
No?
No animals were harmed.
No. Just
People, yes. No animals.
Yeah, we can harm people, that's fine. We got enough people.
Although I guess we're all animals.
Doncs realment no, jo crec que són coses diferents. No? A mi m'encanta el terror, m'encantava ja de petit, abans de que fos conscient de tots els altres temes socials. I tots aquests temes en realitat són molt pitjors. No? En el fons una pel·li és fals i és molt pitjor totes aquestes problemàtiques. I jo crec que no hi ha una connexió. No hay una conexión.
Hola. Mi pregunta era para Sherry, partiendo de la base que, como decía Rob, de que en sus películas solo hay personas malas y peores, ¿con qué se divierte más? ¿Con papeles haciendo de mala como en 31, mala buena, o papeles peores como en Los Renegados del Diablo? ¿Qué es más divertido de interpretar?
So, apart from the fact that all the characters are always bad or worse, what do you prefer portraying? Bad characters, bad good characters like in 31, or even worse characters like other movies?
I enjoy playing all of the characters. Deborah Myers from Halloween was a pretty benign.
She was trying.
She was trying.
Trying to make it right.
I don't like violence in real life, so it's really difficult when I have to do scenes that involve all the fake blood and violence and knives and things like that. It's really difficult for me. But, when you're on set, that's what you do. I know what I signed up for. It's not my favorite thing to do, but I love acting, so it's part of it, I think it would be kind of weird if I did like stabbing and shooting and, you know, hitting people with baseball bats.
Yeah. That would be weird, yes.
That would be weird.
Yes, I concur.
La veritat és que m'ho passo bé... La veritat és que m'ho passo bé fent tots els rols, no? Per exemple, el rol de Debra a Halloween en realitat era una figura bastant benigna. Però en realitat a mi no m'agrada la violència ni la sang en general, no? I llavors, per mi, per fer aquests rols és un repte. És a dir, és el que faig perquè és la meva feina, m'ho passo bé i m'encanta fer d'actriu, però no m'ho passo especialment bé fent escenes de sang, de violència, etc. De fet, quin tipus de persona seria si m'agradés això, no?
Sí, Borja.
Hola, quería preguntar, 31, la has producido mediante el crowdfunding, a ver si cada vez está más complicado que este tipo de cine se pueda producir por cauces mínimamente comerciales, ¿no? Y una segunda pregunta es, ¿cómo ha vivido ese momento cercano en el que John Carpenter habló mal del remake, aunque luego hicieron las paces? Pero bueno, a mí, por ejemplo, el remake me parece muy interesante y que aporta una parte muy interesante. Y bueno, ¿cómo ha vivido ese momento en el que un tío como Carpenter, que es un ídolo, supongo, para Rob, pues cómo ha sentido eso?
So, a couple of questions.
Crowdfunding.
Yeah, the first is about 31 that has been produced. Can you comment a bit about, since it's been produced with crowdfunding, and it's always more complex nowadays to have commercial funding, so a bit about that. And the second one is, how do you feel about some people like John Carpenter that didn't speak very well of the remake, given the fact that maybe he's an idol for you?
Well, the first part, the crowdfunding, was the first time I ever did this for anything, and it worked out pretty good. I didn't 100% crowdfund the film. I would have if I could have, but it just wasn't possible. So the money that I did raise crowdfunding, I used for editing and music and things at the end in post-production. So that worked out really well. Because you're right, it is, these days it's very hard to get appropriate funding for certain types of movies. You know, the movies I've made in the past, like say The Devil's Rejects, it would be impossible to get a studio to put up that amount of money to make that movie now. They just would never do it. So crowdfunding sort of became a necessary thing to do. As far as John Carpenter, I never talked to him about what he thought about the movie. I mean, I guess if someone remade my movie, I would feel weird about it, so that's fine. You know, I like John, he's cool. You know, he's always been super nice to me. So, yeah, it's all good.
Doncs sobre la primera pregunta, sí, és la primera vegada que ho faig en crowdfunding, tot i que no és un 100% de finançament crowdfunding. Ho he fet servir sobretot per edició, música i tot el que és una mica la postproducció. La veritat és que ara és difícil buscar un finançament apropiat. I, per exemple, en el cas de Devil's Rejects va ser molt difícil tenir tot el finançament necessari de finançament comercial, diguéssim. I sobre la segona pregunta relacionada amb el John, no he parlat amb ell mai sobre això, però bé, suposo que a mi també em semblaria estrany si em fessin un remake a mi, llavors tampoc és una cosa que tinc una bona relació, diguéssim.
Sí, hola. Hola, podemos decir que tienes un cine o un estilo de cine de terror que es identificable con un sello personal en cuanto tanto por estética como por temática. Me gustaría saber cuáles han sido tus referentes como director a lo largo de tu carrera.
So your style of cinema is unique aesthetically wise, and also on sí, estética y temática, the aesthetics and the things you're trying to portray, the subject of the movie, etc. Sorry, and I want to know a bit about what are your influences, your references towards this to create your own style of movie in these two senses.
Well, I guess, I mean, everything that really influenced me as a person happened, when you're a teenager. So that would have been in the, mid-70s. So as far as music and fashion and the style of movies, it's everything that took place in the 70s really is what influences me just as a person. And the type of movies I was really influenced by were more like, I don't know what you'd call them now, but they were just considered cult movies. Most of them were movies most people never saw in a grand scale before DVD and home video. Movies like Faster Pussycat Kill Kill, Ilsa She-Wolf of the SS, Dawn of the Dead. It was always sort of what people call grindhouse movies that I liked the most. So that's the type of aesthetic that I developed over the years, those type of movies. I don't really try to make movies that I think will make everybody happy. I know that, some people love them and some people don't, and that's kind of that's good. I always like that idea.
Bé, com a persona em vaig influenciar quan era adolescent, no? Als anys 60, al mitjans dels 60. Tot el que té a veure amb la música, les pel·lícules, les robes, és una mica les meves influències, no? I després el tipus de pel·lícules, així una mica més concretament, que influenciaven era el que s'anomenen les pel·lícules de culte. Són pel·lícules que ningú veia a gran escala, i una mica l'estètica que s'anomena les grindhouse movies és una mica el que em va influenciar. I després, clar, jo tampoc puc fer les meves pel·lícules, amb el tipus de pel·lícules que faig, tampoc puc acontentar una mica a tothom, no? Hi ha gent que li agrada, hi ha gent que no li agrada, i a mi ja m'està bé així.
Hi, Rob. Sherry. La meva pregunta es, no hemos visto aún, yo no he visto 31, pero personalmente el póster, la estética del póster me recuerda bastante a la estética de una película de un director español, que es Alex de la Iglesia, que es Balada triste de trompeta, en la que también aparece un payaso loco y asesino. Entonces quería saber si conocen la obra de Alex de la Iglesia o de algún otro director español de género. Y mi segunda pregunta relacionada es si tiene algún tipo de fobia o algún trauma con los payasos, porque aparecen en varias de sus películas y no son payasos al uso, digamos.
So, I haven't seen 31 yet, but I've seen the poster. And the theme of the crazy clown is similar to some of the movies of the Spanish director Alex de la Iglesia. So I would like to know, first of all, if you know Alex de la Iglesia, or do you know any other Spanish directors, and have you been influenced, or do you know them, do you like them? And also, as a second question, do you have some special phobia towards clowns?
First question was, no, there was nothing from any Spanish directors that influenced the look of the clowns or anything like that. The one clown became Spanish by accident, because Pancho, who plays Sickhead, I noticed that he could speak Spanish, and when I asked him to speak Spanish, I thought his acting got better. So I could just do it all in Spanish.
But he hasn't seen it yet, so he doesn't know.
Afterward, he'll go, now I know what he's talking about.
Spoiler alert.
And then Sherry can speak Spanish, sort of, so there's some scenes with Sherry that we did in Spanish. Anyway. And the second half of the question was, do I have a phobia towards clowns? No, I don't. I just think they're kind of disgusting. But I like them.
Pues la primera pregunta, no, la veritat és que no tinc influència o massa coneixement de directors espanyols. El fet de que un dels pallassos a la pel·lícula, Sickhead, parlés en castellà va venir una mica no estava previst, diguéssim, perquè em vaig donar compte que quan actuava i parlava en castellà ho feia millor. Llavors, també el fet de que Sherry també parlés castellà i es podia fer aquest joc amb el castellà. I sobre si tinc fòbia als pallassos, doncs no, la veritat és que no, simplement crec que fan fàstic.
I have a question for both of you. One, I want to ask to you, Rob, if as in all your movies you make references to the circus, like in 31 there's also Malcolm McDowell character is talking about the Barnum Circus. if you particularly like, why do you particularly like circus? And to Sherry, if, I mean, you've been in all Rob's movies, and apart from being an actress in that ones, if you ever had collaborated to the making of the movie, like writing the part of the screenplay or changing some of your characters.
You want to go first?
I am not a writer. I do not write the script. Rob writes usually a first draft, and I'll ask him to write a third draft. I'll read it on the third draft because I get too attached to things in the script as he goes along. I don't do any writing, but we definitely talk about it and brainstorm. Oh, this will be, interesting if we do something this way. But he's the dialogue king, not I. I don't come up with those witty phrases.
Although sometimes I will write something and she'll go, that's corny, and she'll change it.
True.
As far as the circus stuff, when I was a kid, that's what my parents did for a living for a while, until about 1977, 78. So I grew up around that. So most of the characters, especially in 31, are sort of based on people that I remember. Even some of the names I stole from people that I remember as a kid. And the things they're talking about are things that actually I remember. I don't know if anyone's seen the movie, but there's one character that's obsessed with the idea of creating this show where a girl turns into a gorilla. Well, that was a real thing, and I remember sitting in that when I was a little kid, and this girl would come out in a bikini, get into a cage, and there'd be some light effects, and then a gorilla would be in the cage. I mean, a fake gorilla, obviously, and it would run around the audience, and I thought it was terrifying. I mean, I was like a little kid. So these are all things that, are real to me. These are all things that are from my real life. So that's, unfortunately, these are the people I remember as a child. Lowlifes and maniacs.
Primer, okay, Sherry. Doncs la veritat és que jo no sóc guionista, no? El Rob és el que escriu. Potser fa la primera versió i jo li acabo demanant, m'acabo llegint la tercera versió. Però sí que és veritat que parlem, no? Tenim idees, discutim una mica, però el rei del diàleg realment és el Rob, tot i que algunes idees sí. I després, en quant al Rob, tot el que té a veure amb el circ, doncs jo quan era petit, els meus pares el que treballaven a un circ, de fet. Allà el 1978 doncs jo vaig néixer en aquest ambient i llavors molts dels personatges de 31 estan basats en persones de la realitat de les quals jo me'n recordo i hi ha coses de les quals parlaven que estan a la pel·lícula, hi ha noms que realment existien que també estan a la pel·lícula i fins i tot alguns shows que hi havia, no? Que me'n recordo d'una noia i un goril·la que es posaven allà a una gàbia i que a mi em semblava de petit terrorífic, doncs tot allò també ho vaig viure jo de petit. Llavors, totes aquestes històries, tots aquests personatges a la meva pel·lícula, per mi, en cert sentit, són reals per mi.
I'm curious as how do you say low life in Spanish?
Low life.
Maybe that one doesn't translate.
Derelict.
Yeah, right.
Low life.
Derelicto.
Así.
Loser.
Sí, un poco perdedor, poca monta.
Okay.
No estoy seguro.
Poca monta.
Buscavidas.
Buscavidas.
Okay.
I don't know if there's an exact one.
Good to know.
En la película 31 quería saber si primero le había llegado la historia, o sea, si primero había imaginado la historia y luego ya empezó a pensar en los diferentes maníacos, o si el germen fue alguna imagen concreta o algo. Y de todos los maníacos que se ven en la película, de todos los que se tienen que ir enfrentando, ¿cuál fue el primero que tuvo claro? ¿Cuál fue el primero que decidió introducir que se tenía que estar?
So about the movie 31, so what was first, the story itself, or did you first have ideas of a few maniacs and then you wanted to include that into a story? It was the story first, the idea, and then you came up with all the maniacs. And also, is the first idea of the movie, does that come from a concrete, like, specific image you had? And also the last one is, which is the kind of maniac, monster type person that you had the most clear, like the one that you thought, this is the clearest idea I have of a maniac?
Well, the idea first started about 4 years ago when I would do this Halloween event in California, and we had clowns running around with chainsaws scaring people. And I just thought it was really funny how scared people would get because, it's fake. They know it's fake, and they're still acting scared. So that was the first thing that I thought, oh, that's pretty funny. And then a couple years later, I was working on another movie. It didn't work out. So I just tried to think of a really simple idea. And I thought, oh, people being basically locked in one area, having to, fight against these maniacs. And then that's when I thought, oh, yeah, back 4 years ago, this clown thing seemed pretty good. So that I just put it together, those two simple ideas. What was the first of that question? Was there more to that question?
Did you have a main character? What was the first scary character?
I think probably Richard Brake's character, Doomhead, was the first character I came up with, I think, because he was always my favorite, and I always had him in mind for the movie. I always wanted him to play the part. Everybody else kind of came together later. Usually I have certain people that I know are going to be in the movie. I knew I wanted Sherry, and I knew I wanted Jeff Daniel Phillips, and I knew I wanted Meg Foster, and I knew I wanted Richard Brake. So those characters were probably the most concrete in my mind.
And Malcolm, too.
Bé, doncs la idea va sortir fa uns 4 anys, quan jo feia una mena d'esdeveniments a Halloween on hi havia tot de pallassos amb motosierres, i la veritat és que em va fer gràcia com que tot i que era fals, i evidentment tot era fals, la gent s'espantava, no? Llavors, 2 anys més tard, quan estàvem fent una pel·lícula que no em va acabar de funcionar, vaig tenir la idea d'un espai confinat on havien de lluitar amb tota aquesta mena de bojos, no? I llavors en aquell moment simplement vaig ajuntar les dues idees dels pallassos i de l'espai confinat. I després, així el personatge que sempre he tingut més clar és Doomhead, que el juga Richard, podríem dir que és el primer, i sempre el volia així, sempre faig les coses així, diguéssim. I després tenia altres personatges que també tenia clar, com la Sherry, you said other names.
Jeff Phillips, Meg Foster, Malcolm McDowell,
A part del Richard, aquests també els tenia clars, diguéssim.
Última pregunta, por favor.
Quería preguntarle a Rob, quería saber si el hecho de que él primero hubiera empezado en el mundo de la música como White Zombie, Rob Zombie, etc., y luego se hubiera ido hacia el mundo de la dirección de cine, si esa experiencia como persona al frente de una banda de rock se ha conectado de alguna forma con su rol como director, es decir, si cree que le ha facilitado las cosas, si tiene alguna conexión para él estos dos roles en su vida.
So, taking into account that first you were the leader of a music band and then a director, so did that experience as in music, did that help you directing? Is there any connection between that?
Yeah, I would say, there's a couple connections. The first connection would be that the responsibility of when someone gives you money, you have to finish the product. Like the record label gives you money to make a record, and you have to finish it, and it has to be good, it has to be done on time, and it becomes a real job. And from there, I started making music videos. But the real connection became when I would make music videos for other people. Because, when I made a music video for Ozzy Osbourne, if someone gives you $300,000 to make a music video, they expect it to be perfect, they expect it to be done on time, and they expect you to deliver it. So there's no excuses. So by the time you build up to making movies, you kind of already have that experience because making movies is intense. You get a certain amount of money, everything is scheduled perfectly every single day, and there's, if you have an excuse, you don't feel good, or you can't figure it out, or nobody cares. They don't care. You have to make it right. And that's really what I learned, because the two things are very different, but it's just taking it very seriously is the main thing I learned, I guess. Sort of makes sense.
Bueno, més o menys. Veig un parell de connexions. La primera és la responsabilitat. No? Si et donen uns diners per fer una pel·lícula, l'has de fer bé, l'has de fer al moment, en els tempos que et diuen, etc. I diguéssim, encara que et passi alguna cosa, és una feina molt intensa i tot s'ha de fer en els tempos que et diuen i encara si tens algun tipus de problemes és igual, tu ho has de fer i punt. Després vaig començar a fer vídeos de música amb altra gent, per exemple amb Ozzy Osbourne, hi havia un cas amb Ozzy Osbourne on tenia un pressupost de $300.000 i tot havia de sortir perfecte. Llavors, no és que hi hagi una connexió molt directa, però la veritat és la part seriosa, aquesta part de has de fer el que et diuen, amb els tempos que et diuen, amb una qualitat bona, etc. En aquest sentit sí que hi ha una connexió. Llavors, el procés, quan vaig començar amb la música, després els vídeos de música, fins que arribava a ser director, en aquest aspecte sí que hi ha algun tipus de connexió.
Bueno, pues muchas gracias. Aquesta nit 31 al Gran Auditorio Meliá y donen las gracias. Thank you very much, Rob.
Thank you.